up, book team? Today I am reviewing The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. So if you don't know, this is a retelling of 1001 Nights, which is an Arabian folk tale. It follows the story of a boy king who every single night takes a new bride-to-be, and in the morning they are found dead with a silk cord wrapped around their neck. The story starts with a young woman named Shahrazad who has just volunteered herself to be the next bride-to-be after her best friend becomes one of the more recent bridal victims. However, when Shahrazad gets to the palace, she realizes that the boy king is not who she thought he was, and there's definitely more to the story than has been told. Okay, so the top 5 buzzwords I have for The Wrath and the Dawn. Number 1, fairy tale retelling. As I said before, this is a retelling of 1001 Nights, which is an Arabian folk tale about the same premise of a king murdering his many wives night after night after night. There are also other fairy tales kind of hinted at within the story as well, but I do not want to go into them for fear of spoilers. But if you like fairy tale retellings, then you will want to consider picking up this book. Second is Middle Eastern culture. So since this book is based on a Middle Eastern tale, it has a lot of Middle Eastern influences. So for example, it uses the Hindi language, not the Arabic as I was under the first impression of. After doing my research, I found out it is indeed Hindi. I will say though, thank God she put a handy dandy glossary in here, because otherwise I would be doing a lot of Googling. You are also introduced to a group of desert dwelling horsemen. There's also a very vibrant marketplace scene which makes you feel as if you are in an open market in Egypt or Turkey or Saudi Arabia. It's just really well written. Number 3 is kick-ass female character. Shahrazad is the sassiest of the sassy, I swear. I don't think I've ever read a character sassier than her. Basically, you don't mess with her because she will cut you down with her words. She's just the fiercest of the fierce, and I adore following her character dialogue and thoughts, and she's just so much fun to read. Number 4, poetic writing. I talked about this a little bit when I was talking about the marketplace scene, but Renee Ahdieh's writing has such a poetry to it. Her writing is very descriptive and very lovely, and as I'm saying, at times very poetic. It's really hard for me to talk about this without spoiling specific parts of the book, but I will say this. Her descriptions, especially those describing love, and her metaphors that she uses throughout the book were very lovely to read and to follow, and just made the reading experience for me so much more pleasant. And finally, number 5, which I think is the most obvious buzzword of all, would be romance. I don't want to say too much about this because some people are very picky about their spoilers, but there is definitely romance, and it is definitely something that you want to root for, and it is definitely something worth reading for. So overall, spoiler-free opinion, I did enjoy reading this book. Like I said, I thought the writing was great. Shahrazad was very fun to follow along with. That being said though, I do have a couple issues with this book. For the sake of this spoiler-free section, I'm just going to leave it at I had many questions at the end of the book. Now before you say anything, I do know that there's a second book coming, so I'm sure my questions will be answered when the second book comes. However, I feel there were things introduced within the book that I think should have had a stronger introduction instead of me having to wait to read the second book to get a further explanation on them. I do not think that each book in a series has to stand completely on their own, but I do believe that the first book should definitely have a strong foundation and could potentially be a standalone if need be, with maybe a cliffhanger at the end. But if things are introduced, they should be well explained at the forefront. On Goodreads, I gave 4 stars, but if we're going to be specific, I'm giving it a 3.5 stars. Once again, I just feel I had one too many questions at the end of this book that I feel should have been answered in this first book. Now, I really did enjoy reading this book. It was very fun, and like I said, I adored the characters, minus a couple, but I'll get to that in the spoilery section. I'm just super curious to see how Renee Ahdieh plans to further the story along with the second book, so I will definitely be picking it up when it comes out this year. Yay! Okay, so that's my super vague, spoiler-free review. If you have not read the book yet or do not want to be spoiled, please stop watching the video right now. I'm serious. Seriously, stop watching because I'm about to go on a full spoiler-filled rant right now. Bye-bye. So hello, spoiler people. I'll just start off on a good note and start with the pros that I found of this book. First off, the fairy tale retelling elements. I do love a good fairy tale retelling, and I do think that this book definitely does the original tale justice. I also love how there's an element of Beauty and the Beast and also Aladdin, and I'm really curious to see if there are elements of other fairy tales that might be addressed in the next book. On top of that, I love the stories that are told within the story. This is kind of a segue also into my appreciation for her writing style. So above all things, I loved the Bluebeard story, and I loved how that translated to her and Khaled's relationship. It was a very obvious similarity, but I think she did it in a way that I didn't feel as if my head was being bashed over and over again repeatedly with a hammer of meaning. Adding on to that, I really do love the relationship between Shazi and Khaled. I think that they have a very complimentary relationship. Even though he can kind of be a jerk sometimes and super cold, I just think that they are a match made in heaven, as one would say. I also love the fact that Shazi is not completely dependent on Khaled. She can hold her own in a fight if need be, as proven in the marketplace scene. She does not need him to defend her in any way, but I think she needs him on a strong emotional level, as does he her. And in that way, I think they are a very good match. So yes, I am definitely Team Khaled, but honestly, if you are Team Tariq, I do not understand you. I'm sorry. I mean, he's obviously the Gaston in this Beauty and the Beast situation. Let's be honest here. I mean, he even has Raheem to be his LeFou. Granted, if things were switched and Khaled didn't have as much substance to him, and we were following Tariq's point of view, we would definitely be gung-ho about Tariq. Let's be very honest here. However, in this circumstance, Tariq is a very frustrating character to read, but that's okay. Sometimes you just have to get through the frustrating characters. Arguably, it makes a great character to be able to frustrate you that much. To some extent. There are some characters that just frustrate you for all the bad reasons and not all the good reasons. But anyway, now it's time for the cons that I found with this book. So first thing that I have questions about would be the magic aspect. The logic behind it does not have an explanation yet, and I really hope that in the second book it goes into more explanation. It's also hinted at that Shazi has magic in her as well, but honestly I'm completely baffled that Shahrazad did not take up Musa's offer in learning how to tame her magic or anything. I mean, the magic carpet scene was awesome and very cute for both her and Despina. However, I think it would have been a wiser decision for her to have pursued Musa and asked him to teach her more about magic and how it works, so then the magic element could have been a stronger introduction. So my second problem is the timeline. So either Shazi is really slow at telling stories, or Khaled really visits her like super late at night, like basically an hour before dawn, because otherwise I have no idea how Shazi's story lasted the entire night. Now, I definitely could have missed a small sentence that said that he approached her chamber each single night, super late at night. And I'm pretty sure during the second night it does mention that he waited a long time to visit her. But during the first night he does visit her sooner. He does visit her later, but sooner than he did the second night, if I remember correctly. In any case, I do not understand the timeline of that. Additionally, I feel like there were moments that Renee Ahdieh just kind of brushed over real fast, and it kind of felt rushed. Like there were very dismissive sentences that said, oh, and then this happened, and then we jump ahead a little bit. I found that kind of jarring. I mean, I guess it was nice in the way that she wasn't being over descriptive about things which can sometimes also be annoying. But there were moments that I just wanted more out of the scene. Also, one nitpick question. When she had finally come to terms with her feelings for Khaled, why didn't she reach out for her family? Why didn't she just contact them and tell them, hey, everything's cool? I mean, I know that he has his secrets and his issues, but does that really mean that she has to be away from her family for forever, even though she's alive and well and he has no intention of murdering her? On top of that, Jahander in general is just a very confusing character to me. I did not find his chapters especially interesting. I get he's like a fallen from grace character who wants to redeem himself and prove to the world that he's not cowardly or insane, but I still don't understand him. I'm just very confused by Jahander and his purpose other than helping with the introduction of magic and helping Tariq be annoying in his chase to win back Shazi. My final and most prevalent question that I was asking myself during the entirety of this book is, where the heck did Ursa go? If you're asking yourself, who's Ursa? That is my point exactly. Remember Ursa, her little sister, who she told her father to take with him and hide away forever and ever? You know, Ursa, who after Jahander gets the book from the library and she asks about it, is never heard from again. Additionally, Shazi never even really thinks about her after the wedding. Just honestly, I am worried for this little child. So I'm just imagining this little girl just wandering around the desert wondering where her father is. Fun story, kid. He's running around like a madman with a magic book and trying to save your sister. Like, seriously though, where is she? I really, really want to know what happened to her. Like, there's not even a moment where Jahander's like, oh, hey someone, can you take care of Ursa while I address a business? No, that moment doesn't exist. I just am baffled at the fact that Ursa just fell off the face of the planet. And yes, that is my #1 issue with this book. Seriously though, did Jahander just go like, peace out Ursa, I'm gonna go do some magic to try and save your sister, and you can just fend for yourself. Like, I understand a father's love for his daughter, but he has another daughter to take care of. But anyway, like I said, there were some strong moments, but at the end of the day, I just had one too many questions to give this a very, very high rating. I am looking forward to the sequel in a couple of months, and let us hope and pray to God that we find out where Ursa is. Also, that cliffhanger at the end absolutely broke my heart because Shazi and Khaled are now separated, and I really want them to come back together. I just want everyone to be happy, guys. That's all I want. And I really hope Ursa is okay. That poor little Ursa. I have so many feels for Ursa right now. That poor child is probably so confused, wandering around the desert. I feel like I'm just gonna make that thing on my channel now. Ursa character. Characters who just disappear off the face of the earth, even though they should not have disappeared off the face of the earth. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed my rambling and ranting about this book. If you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to be updated about future videos, please hit that fancy dancy subscribe button. Alright guys, happy Sunday, and I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Bye!